Right, we are in the middle of a React course at the moment over on my Patreon, and we're at a point where we're sort of done with a lot of the base fundamental knowledge, the foundational knowledge, where I really want to put that into some sort of practice. I do think there's merit in learning the theory behind a lot of the stuff we're going to go through on this lesson, but really it's all about using it, seeing it in practice, and building an app with it. That all being said, this is obviously YouTube and you're going to miss a lot of context, but I still think it's worth you seeing it. But just know that everything we use in this lesson will be taught in detail over my Patreon. We're still very, very early on in the process. So any veterans that come in here just wanted to look at what React code looks like in Webflow, just know that yes, there are going to be a lot of performance things we need to take into account, but we're just sort of cementing where we are in the journey right now. I hope you can appreciate that. Don't slate me down in the comments. So with that all being said, we're going to build a basic Pokemon app. You can watch me do it from start to finish, or you can follow along. There's going to be code down in the description. And if you're interested in learning how to build a React project inside of Webflow, then once again, it's available over my Patreon at 0x5am5. Again, links in the description. So with that, let's get on with building a Pokemon search app in React in Webflow. All right, let's delete a bunch of stuff here and start from scratch. Right, I'm going to keep app. So we've got a simple server which does all of our setting up of stuff. We've got React DOM, blah, blah, blah. That's good. And then our app, which is going to contain everything. We can kind of just remove all of this now. And then remove all of this. And I think we're good. We can save that. And now, because there's nothing in here. Okay, and we've got hello world kind of coming through there. Cool. Why don't we actually, because we don't want it in here, do we? So let's create a new page inside of Webflow. Create a page, dashboard, and then create. Okay, we're good. We're good. So inside of the body, we want to put a div, and then we're going to give this the ID of app. Save, publish, and then here we're going to go get element by ID, and then it was app, wasn't it? So we could do that. It's not an array. Just to play around here, we can go create root, because create root is an item of React DOM, so we can just do that as well, which is quite cool. We don't even need React DOM. A bit more intentional, a bit more clear. And then let's have a look what's going on here. We've got a hello world. Oops. Nice. Let's inspect that so we can see some stuff going on. Cool, cool. Let's start with our form. Let's just get something going on. So I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to say I'm just going to call it form, and we're going to import React from React, export default function form, and I'm going to try my best to break this up as many components as I possibly can. So I'm thinking like Pokemon list, like the actual list items of a Pokemon, just so you know, so you can see how much really we should be breaking this up into components, whilst also being mindful of performance and things like that. So we have our thing here, and that looks good. And if we go to here, we can go, I'm going to put a div because you'll see why in a second. And then we're going to go form here, which is going to import from form. Need. Cool. So we've got our form. Now we're going to build up Okay, so here we go. First example. Let's build up a page wrapper. Now we're going to get into um, layouts and like React router and things like that in a later episode. So we're just going to do it all in one page right now. But you'll probably create a page wrapper as like a page layout and reuse that across many pages and stuff like that. But for now, we're going to brute force it. So React from React export default function page wrapper. Return here, we're going to go div, cool, and then we're going to enable children. So children we just used in the past as just text, but actually children can be a full-blown, might have focus, full-blown DOM element. So here I'm just going to go children, and let's children, spell it right, cool. Let's put our form in here. And I'm just going to go input type text there so we can see something. Cool. Now, page wrapper, we've got Tailwind installed, and we're going to go flex. I think we can do place center, place content center. Will that be what we want it to do? No. So we go items center and justify center. We'll do that one. In height full. Maybe that's why we couldn't do place item center. Oh, I know why, dumbass. We go here. We want this to be page wrapper. I'm not even using it. Cool. Let's have a little look and min height full. Why is that not doing that? Oh, screen. I know what it is. It's so it takes a bit of knowledge of Tailwind to use. I kind of screen. There we go. I know a lot of classes. I'm by no means like an expert at beautiful. Let's see if we can get that place item center working. But I know it pretty well. Okay, so screen. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Cool. Do we need width there? Now, a lot of complaints around Tailwind is actually like the amount of classes that they use, and I agree. It can be messy, and especially if you're building something for production. Like if you're prototyping, it's really good, and then later down the line you'll end up like, you know, building your own classes and stuff like that. But when you componentize stuff, a lot of this stuff you can just set it and forget it. So, you know, it is what it is. Some people like it, some people don't. So we've got page wrap here. Let's build, I know this is boring, but whatever. Let's build a header. I think I have a shortcode. React functional component. I have some shortcodes going off here, but apparently don't. You can set up shortcodes that if you just type in something, that it will just build out like basically export everything we're typing out here. Export default. Header. Let's do actually page header there. Function page header. Return header. Rename page header. I don't think we really talked about self-closing tags. Like, oftentimes you just want the element um, there, and you don't need to do open and close like we do in Page Wrapper. You just self-close it. You can, I mean, I think that's kind of self-explanatory, but you'll end up using that quite a lot. Let's do this green. Thing is now that's going to be like, that's going to push everything down because this is a screen height. Let's do, I think we're going to have to go boom, boom. I think we're going to have to change our flex thing. So this will be probably content wrapper, something like that. Content wrapper. I think this will make sense. What I'm doing is I'm trying to make it so it's still the full height of the page, but the header takes up as much. Basically, they automatically adjust and take up as much as they should do. Otherwise, the header's going to push it down. Then I've set the page wrapper to 100%, so it's going to be the header plus 100%, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to get around that. Export default function content wrapper. Return div, do children again. I actually quite like doing this. What am I doing? Just kind of setting up the HTML because it means that I just focus on the actual HTML of stuff. So as an example, this should be main here. Page wrapper, we've got that. That's fine. And then page header should be a header. Like, it just means that I just focus on HTML because I think you can get so caught up in React that you forget about HTML. You just want it to look as it should do. See what it's looking like now. So that should probably just go up to the top. Okay, let's use Claude. Tailwind classes for dashboard where header is auto sized to content and content area takes up the rest of the page. So we need to, okay, so first of all, we need to do that. It's suggesting flex, so let's just do that. Page wrapper. That's fine because we don't care about that. And then this is flex 1. I think that's the only one we really care about. So content wrapper, class name flex 1. Let's see what that. Cool. That's what we need. Cheers, Claude. Cool. So here with the page wrapper, no, the content wrapper, sorry, we can also go flex items center, justify center, and we should get that in the middle then, which we do. Nice, we're getting somewhere. So we don't need that anymore. We don't need the page wrapper anymore, and now we are just focused on the form. So what do we want? We want a form input that basically lists a Pokemon that we search, right? So actually, I reckon the form should sit inside of a, so the form should just be the form. And then we should also sit inside, okay, so Pokemon list. We'll do that. I can't bother to do all that. So Pokemon list. And then we can remove all of that. And then inside of the Pokemon list, so we go into content wrapper, children, page wrapper, content wrapper. Here we go Pokemon list. Open that out, then put the form in the Pokemon list, and then we're gonna create a list here. List, and then this is going to be where we probably don't care about that. In fact, actually, we do. We're probably going to want a list of Pokemon, because the Pokemon list is going to contain the state of the where are we? App. Because the Pokemon list is going to contain the state, and it's going to pass it into the Pokemon wrapper actually. So actually, I'm going to do this, Pokemon list, and then Pokemon list here is not going to contain children. This is going to contain form, and it's going to contain Pokemon list, and this is where the state is going to live to house all the Pokemon doing the searching and stuff like that. So we've moved the state up a level, and we're going to feed it back and from the certain components, if that makes sense. So here we're probably going to take a what are we going to do? Probably an on change function, to be honest. Maybe an on submit as well, but we'll get that in a second. And we'll go on change. We're going to fire that on change event. So this will be when people type and the input's going to change. We're going to get that. Submit equals on submit. And then this is going to be, let's fill out this so this makes sense. Pokemon search, and name is Pokemon search, all of this stuff. Probably going to want to have a label, search Pokemon, and then this needs to be HTML4, and then we need the ID, Pokemon search. See what that looks like. Oh, something's going on. Pokemon search. I've got all of that. That looks good. I think that's all we need there. What's going on here? I think we're kind of done with the form now. We're gonna make it. Actually, we need probably a search submit button. So button type equals submit search. But we're probably going to have it auto search anyway. So yeah, we'll leave that. What's going on here? Is my internet going out? Do we have any errors? No. So app, content wrapper, Pokemon list. So Pokemon list. It's fine. Div. Do we remove the children from content wrapper? No. List. Oh, that's going to be list. Then oh, I just created a infinite loop. Children is not defined. Children is not defined. Children list. Oh, let's do that and probably remove all of that, to be honest. Cool. Boom. We're getting somewhere. Looks ugly as sin, but you know, we're getting there. And let's clean this up a little bit. So Pokemon list. We've got the form. Let's make this into something a bit nicer. So BG. We'll do something like this. We'll go for a full dark mode experience. We'll do padding 3, rounded MD. Cool. And then the form, make this button a bit nicer. Whoops. Class name, BG. Let's go for a green. I love this. This plugin, I recommend it. So we go padding Y. We'll do that to 2. No, padding X we do 2. Padding Y we do 1. Cool. Rounded small. And you can also do hover state. So if we go hover colon BG green, we can make that a bit lighter when we hover over it. Do focus state as well, BG green 500. Now if we search, there you go, bit of a nasty green, but I'm getting there. Inputs, class name, let's go border none. Let's go rounded small. Let's go BG, make it just an off-white. And then we'll go padding 3. Too much there. Let's go padding 1. Cool. Color, text. Is it text black? Cool. We are getting there. Let me know if, well, obviously leave in the comments if you want to see something or I breeze over something, and I'll be sure to answer it or include it in the final episode. But I think that's pretty cool. Let's get on with some functionality now then. If we go Poker API, we want an API that we can call to actually search. Need a hint. So Pokemon / Ditto. So this is actually exactly what we need. We're actually just recreating this. So let's Pokemon list. Let's store some variables, and I'm going to try my best to show you best practices here. But really, we're just trying to get something up and running. You know, you'd store variables outside of other files. It does get very complicated, but I don't want to bore you or bog you down with too much worry about that sort of stuff. The main thing here is just to get something up and running and just have fun with it. So, yeah, I mean, you know, base URL, we're probably going to include Pokemon, oops, in that base URL. And then we're going to go, what do we do? You've seen all this actually. Now we're going to go like this, set Pokemon equals use state. Be nice if we could search a Pokemon and get its evolution chain or something like that, but yeah. And we kind of want a fuzzy search as well. Too complicated. Let's just build a basic Pokemon search to show you what's going on. So this will be const. So I already can foresee that we need to use something we haven't spoken about yet, called use callback, but try and ignore it for now. I'll go into depth in a future episode, but we're going to go on change, const on change equals function, and we're going to do that. And we need to go use callback. That's unfortunately something we haven't spoken about yet. And then I think, you know what, I actually think the on change, let's go search Pokemon. I think this will be used for the on change event and the search event, you know. On change equals search Pokemon. On submit search Pokemon. For those people who are watching on YouTube, if none of this makes sense to you, then do sign up to the course, because I break down pretty much everything we're talking about here in the course and getting up and running inside of Webflow. So yeah, check out the link in the description. So we've got our thing here, and then here we want to go Pokemon equals Pokemon. So here's where we're going to do all the searching. We're going to take the input of, so this is probably going to be E. We're going to take the input of the form and search that. So let's get that input, log E. Let's do that. We're passing it in. We go to form. We're binding those events here. So I think this should actually console log exactly what we want. Here we go. Let's do Pokemon list. E got target dot value. Cool, we're getting it. And that's being, you can see that's in the Pokemon list component. And if we pass that, well, I guess now we can use that. First of all, I thought about this earlier. First of all, I'm just not going to do anything. If e.target.value.length is less than 3, only if it's greater than or equal to, then we're going to run this function just to protect it, because we don't want to bombard this API. In the first instance, we are going to bombard it with our searching, but we're probably going to add like a debounce or something like that, which doesn't search unless the person just pauses for a brief moment, if that makes sense. So I think this now needs to be an async function. Const response equals fetch, and we're going to go base URL plus e.target.value. We're going to handle the submit slightly differently, but this should search const dot Pokemon data equals, do away on the phone, response dot JSON. Cool. And if we go log Pokemon data, let's do that. I kind of don't want to just, let's go Abra, refresh, paste that in there, and here we go. We get a response. Nice. Name Abra. So let's have a look what we can actually do here now. Query show image. So if we go set Pokemon here, and in this array, does it need to be an array? I think it can be just an object, can't it? Let's go with that for now. So if we go name, then we go Pokemon data dot name, Abra. What number is it? What's forms? Okay. Height ID, like ID, equals Pokemon data dot ID. Species, probably be cool to include its types. So we'll go types equals Pokemon data dot types, and that's an array, so that's cool. And then where's the image? Sprites, there we go. We're just gonna go image Pokemon data dot sprites dot. So we'll look at some of these just to know what we're talking. Okay, so we don't want that one. We probably want front default, don't we? Yeah, front default. Front default as the image. So if we got this set Pokemon, I'm going to try and do this blind because I just don't want to hit their API loads. So we're setting the Pokemon. This is a dependency, so we need that. So we're setting the Pokemon. We're going to pass the Pokemon into the list. We're going to take the Pokemon, which is that, and now we are going to build out our Pokemon. Source equals Pokemon.image. We're going to go h2, which will be Pokemon.name. And then here, probably going to go p Pokemon.type. What else did we have? ID. Do that. Pokemon.id. We'll clean this up in a sec. So, and then if we go Pokemon, I think an empty. Okay, let me explain this now. Yeah, we do want that. So what this is saying is if Pokemon exists, then render this item. Otherwise, it won't. I think actually we probably need to do a ternary statement, but let's. So it is rendering something there. So if we do a ternary, what happens there? We don't want anything there. So I think object is, it exists. So maybe we go do that. Okay. Oh no, I'm breaking something. What are you whinging about? Oh, there. That's that, and then that. Cool. That's that. So y is log Pokemon. So it's an empty array. Do we do Pokemon.length? Well, actually, let's go Pokemon list. Got to save all that. So it's an empty object. Why is it an empty object? Let's do that. Cool. So we're going to have to make sure it's. This is where TypeScript comes into play, right? And I think we'll touch on TypeScript sometime in the future, maybe. I don't want this to turn into a TypeScript course, but we might use TypeScript. This is where we can say you know, if we set some Pokemon to an array or something like that, but we never wanted to be an array or, you know, whatever, then we'll get sort of type warnings. So TypeScript is very handy with that. It's just a lot of work. Like that is a whole course in of itself. So yeah, let's go Abra. Boom. We have something going on. Obviously, we've got all these errors here. Where so we got types is it? Okay, so I remember that is an array. So it's types. So let's make this into a ul dot map. And then we go type. I'm just making this up now, but we'll confirm it in a sec. If we go type.type, log Pokemon.types. Copy that. Oh yeah. So we can go like this question mark, and that will only console log this if Pokemon exists. So we can do that. That's fine. Undefined. Abra. So the errors are fine because we just care about this. So it's an array. Type. So each type has a type dot name. So that's what we want. Do this. Abra. Make sure it's like this. Boom. Psychic. Boom. Obviously the styling is weird, so let's sort that out. Let's do image and then the content here. So again, we could break all of these out into separate components, but let's try and get something working for now. Class name flex. And then what was this? The class flex 1. Getting somewhere. Let's actually do it in the browser. I'm really reluctant to like keep hammering the Pokemon API thing because if it stops working whilst we're doing this demo, then we won't have much to explain. So that's probably the H2 there is probably taking my styling from, you know, the rest of the website, rest of the Webflow website. So let's figure that out. Class, oops, class name, margin, margin bottom. We'll just do 1. Text left. And let's go span here and make this a different opacity. I'll go 50% just to dim it a little bit. Text extra small. That's cool. And then this whole area probably could do with padding 2, padding 3. And then maybe we'll go background there. Oh shit. I'm not much of a designer, you know that. Let's do this. Why is that so? Is that really the padding that's doing that? Has that got a height on it or something? Margin bottom. Padding bottom. Oh, there is a padding bottom. Padding bottom. What family line height? Probably the line height that's doing a bunch of stuff. Line. I never touch line height. So height, no, line. I don't know. Let's go style. line height. I don't know, what is it? It's like percent, or maybe like 120 is a good one. No idea. Overriding that anyway. Let's have a little look at that. Okay, maybe we can care less about that. So text. Do the dark grey. And then we'll probably go flex item center just to line those up. Oh, fucking hell. And then flex. And let's actually have a look. Flex direction, flex col, and then justify content center, and then items, align items left, flex end, flex start. That's what we want. Flex col. Let's remove that and then go justify. Justify center. I think that should be good. Sorry, it looks like ass, but it works. Let's create some space between the Pokemon. Let's go flex, flex call, gap 3. And then the form here will go class name flex gap 3. Let's go 2 actually. 3. And then we should wrap this in a div because we want these grouped together. Cool. I think this should look somewhat respectable. Yeah, somewhat respectable. Maybe we can do rounded corners on that Pokemon list. Okay, let's do some more complicated stuff now, because we've got our set Pokemon. We only accept after 3, but we want a Debouncer. Now, I don't know a Debouncer off by heart, so let's use Claude. Create a Debouncer function so that a user needs to stop typing for 1 second in order for a fetch request to happen. I love that you can just type like a dumbass in Claude and it will just like figure it out. Cool, here we go. It's debounce. So this is it in JavaScript. Now it's done it in React. Nice. Oh no, use debounce. Oh, it's created a hook, I believe. Function debounce. No, it's not. No, it's not. I wonder if we can do this right. So if we go hook, file, hooks, use debounce.js. Why don't we move this into here? We need React. Import. Do we need React? Yeah, we do. Import React from React. And it doesn't hurt anyway. If you re-import stuff, it doesn't hurt it. So yeah, we can import React. It's fine. Use debounce. So export default function. Use debounce. Callback. Cool. We don't need, yeah, we need to use effect and we need to use callback. That's totally fine. So this is now just a file that we can import anywhere. Like we can just use this debouncer all through the application because we've saved it in a separate file. Now in this component, and then here we're going to do on change. We're just going to pass in that function. So let's just double check we're using this. So use default. So the default is going to be 1 second. So we can actually pass in, say, 2 seconds in there. But that's an optional field because if you look here, delay 1 second, and then the callback is the first. So this takes 2 arguments. So we can do that, and then that should be it, I think. I think actually that should be it. And we'll deal with the search now. So it's not going to do anything because it's not 2 characters. 3, 4, 1, 3, and it should. Okay, so it saw that it searched then. So n not found. Cool. So we have our first error. Let's go try catch error console log. I'm just gonna console log the error. I don't think this throws anything. I think it's successful. Oh no, we do. Okay. Oh no, hang on, we want that. There it is. Cool. So let's now log Pokemon data. We could boom. That. But I actually do think it's throwing, you know. I wonder what happens if we go message. I hate errors. Like I said in my last episode, like they're always different. Everyone just does things differently. So go ab. I wonder how many is broken because of that. Yeah, so it's not broken because of that. Where is this error found? Is it because... Is it breaking here? And we're trying to call JSON on something that's broken? Cool. Response. Okay, so I've seen this been done before actually. So we've got this OK thing. So if we go if response.OK, so if that's true, then we can continue on with the rest of this Pokemon data. Else, we obviously want to throw new error. And do we see anything in here? Body used, status text. So I think we need to build, basically we need to build our own error system. So in here, if response dot status equals 404, then we can go Pokemon not found. And then in here, const error, set error. set error e.message. Now let's sort this out in the Pokemon list. So if there's an error, Pokemon list. Oh no, it's list, isn't it? We're also going to accept error. If error, else Pokemon. And then in here, we're going to go P and then literally just echo out the error. That should work. Pokemon not found. Boom. Well, it should search that one. Oh, I know why. Set that error to null. Bruh. Cool. Boom. Nice. What was the other thing as well that we set? Loading. We set a loading thing. So I know this is a bit overkill. Const loading. Set loading. Use state false. Let's just go false. And then false. It's a bit better. Let's go loading. And once again, hand this down to, we could go, I mean, it feels a bit weird passing the error down to that. So we can do this and then go here. If error, oh, we can just paste if error, else, and then we're going to go if loading. Right now we're just going to go loading, else that error, open close, loading, open close. There we go. Cool. Into true, and then we go finally set. Hope this is actually now making some sort of sense, because we do use this stuff. I mean, we're going to go into something called query, React query, which does all of this stuff for us. It's super nice. Pokemon not found. That's just our error console logging. But for just for learning the ropes and getting all this stuff sorted, like it's pretty cool. Let's loading icon SVG. Let's just get a loading icon. Perfect. We'll take that one. Can we copy it? SVG. Oh, of course. Let's just get the yeah, that's fine. Or whatever, Trevor. Oh no, because we're gonna loading PNGs and images means that we need to then handle that inside of Webpack. So I'm really sorry about that, but I can't be bothered to do that right now. Whereas SVGs, we can just copy that. Don't save. You can go new file, icon loading.js. So we're going to make this import. We're actually going to make this into a React component. Export default function icon SVG. Again, you can load this, set this as a loader in Webpack and all the rest of it, but just this is, you know, it takes 2 seconds. We don't need that. Need that. And then maybe we can pass in a width equals 800 pixels, height equals 800 pixels, Then in here, width, height, and then I don't think React likes all this stuff, so we'll do that and do that. I think that's good. Maybe we can pass in a color as well. Let's do class name and then do class name. So we can pass in basically Tailwind classes and have total control there. And then fill. Do we do fill as well? Fill. Fill. In fact, actually, we're not. We're just going to control it all with Tailwind. Cool. Now, if we something going on there. Icon SVG. Why aren't you loading? Icon loading. Icon loading. Icon loading. I think that's it. Icon loading. Icon. There it is. I'm probably going to do a width of like 30 pixels, height of 30 pixels. We probably could do something where we icon loading. If we just take a size, because it's always going to be square, I'm going to go size. It reduces the amount there. And then in here we just go size. And then class name, probably going to go opacity 50. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to set loading to true there, just so we can see it. A. Cool. Now we want to animation spin. Is that what we want? I mean, it's pretty aggressive spinning, but whatever. Nice. Found. I like this. Okay. Do we handle the search as well? I mean, it's automatically searching. We don't need the search button. I don't think we need it because it's automatically doing it. An hour in and we've completed what we set out to do. You know, I would really like to show like the evolution chain, but you don't get evolution chain inside of the anything you do. Cries, forms, game indices. I don't know what that means. Item. Let's change the URL that we search. Okay. We're going to do like, I don't know. Let's do type. Let's do types, okay? Let's do types. So we're going to basically create a drop down that searches types. Pokemon, that's fine. And we're probably gonna, yeah, probably gonna clean it up. So because we're gonna reuse this search Pokemon. Sorry, we're gonna reuse this list thing and pass the Pokemon, which will be an array instead of, you know, whatever. Let's just change that quickly now. Do. So this just says a one item array. And then if we go to list here, this will be an empty array. And then Pokemon.length will be this. Pokemon.map. Let's do item because we can't have it as Pokemon. That is good. And then here we need to go item. I think that should be good. Emperor. Cool, we're there. Right, so now this just accepts an array. Do we even need to do that? Cool, yeah, that takes care of it for us. So we're just looping through every item. There's no items and there's nothing to loop through, so it doesn't return anything. And so in our form, we can get rid of the search button because it's all automatic anyway. Let's create a select element. And we're going to probably put it in a div just to shout it. And then option. Let's do something stupid. Let's go const options as an array. And what do we say? We said type and Pokemon. And here we're going to go options.map. We're looping through option. And we're going to return an option full of option value equals option. Here filter names filter ID is filter. So we're now actually thinking about it. So then we're going to now do that. On filter. Call the onFilter function instead of the onChange function. What's happened there? So onChange does the change. Filter is the filter. There it is, looking pretty dope if I do say so myself. I think do that and then wrap these in a div. What does that do? Search Pokemon. Okay, so that is flex there by side. Let's do flex call. Cool. And then this should be flex gap 3. So this separates these two, puts them next to each other and separates it. Perfect. Right, this looks like crap. So let's just make sure this looks good. BG, let's do a dark background. And then text white. Rounded small. Cool. And maybe we do height. There's probably oh no, that's good. Let's go P3, probably 2 actually. Yeah. Cool. Cool. We've got something going on. So on change, so now we need to handle that on filter button. So that search that Pokemon list. Change on filter. Filter on filter. I'm just going to call it the same thing. Const on filter equals use callback. And then we pass it a function which will accept E, and then we will probably const type set type use state. So type is probably going to be I'm thinking, do we keep the types in this wrapping component and pass it down? Because we need to be able to set the default type, right? So let's do that. No, not that one. Form. Options. Let's take options. And here we're going to store our options. And the use state, we're going to take the first item in that array and set the type from default. And then options is going to be type. No, options is going to be options. I think that makes sense. Oh no, hang on. Oh, I'm getting confused. Right, options there. We're passing it to the form. And that should. Cool. Cool. I think we have an issue. We go form. We've done something wrong here. We need to set the value here. Do we? Just trying to think. Because I think we are. There's something here about needing the value and setting the value. I think we're okay. But in different circumstances, you might need to go value equals Pokemon, whatever. Let's leave that for now because we're not running into any issues. Let's worry about form. I think I'm going to do an episode on form specifically. So let's not worry about that. So the type. So the base URL. So the base URL needs to change. We need to go base URL plus type plus that. So options, Pokemon type. Let's just double check the Pokemon, ability, species. I want type, Pokemon, PI information, Pokemon, types. Yeah, so it's type, Pokemon. Cool. So this will be a string value, and we're just appending it on to the end here, but we need a slash there. We need type, and then we need a slash there to get the actual string value, because this already has a string. We want to keep this clean. We're adding a slash there. So this will be slash type right now, and it will search type. And then this will need to change. So if type equals type, then we do one thing, else we do this, because we need to deal with the fact that type is probably going to return a bunch of Pokemon. So that's cool. So this should work fine. Yeah. And if we check, well, we need to now, because this is now dependent on type, we need to actually set that as a dependency inside of here. And then we actually need to change the type. So we haven't done that yet. So console.log e.target.value. Let's try that. So this should change every time. Cool. Pokemon type. Cool. So now we can set type. Is it set type? e.target.value. And then set type is a dependency. And then that should reload this. And then here, log Pokemon data. Let's have a look what that Pokemon data looks like when we search type. Fire. Boom. Okay, so it's actually fire moves, isn't it? It's not a bunch of fire Pokemon. Oh, here we go. Pokemon 103. So, whew. Okay, we're just going to search the first 100. So let's do that. Set Pokemon. We're going to go Pokemon. In fact, we're probably going to have to build up our own, because we accept this specific, like, I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen. We need this basically. So we need to const. This would be cool to do. So cleaned up data equals Pokemon data dot Pokemon. So we're going to loop through every single Pokemon. Current Pokemon, and we're going to return an object. Do you know what? I actually think it would make sense. Pokemon 0.map, because we want those first 100. Unless this is grouping it, in which case we need to sort that out. But Pokemon, current Pokemon dot Pokemon. So this will need to be current Pokemon dot Pokemon dot name. And because this is returning an object, you can wrap that in. Have I done that right? You can wrap that in brackets, and that means you can return an object straight away. So then we set Pokemon as that cleaned up Pokemon. In fact, let's do this just to make sure. Now, I think this is Chrome cleaning up the data for us. So let's Let's just see what returns here. Could break it, so we're going to go fire, fire, Pokemon 0.map. Yeah, so we need to clean up that data. Let's go to Claude. I think I probably need to go back over what we've just done there. So get first 50 items in array JavaScript. I think it's slice or something that we need. It's pretty simple. There we go, slice. First 50 array.slice. Perfecto. Pokemon.slice first 50.map. Perfect. So we're getting those Pokemon, we're getting the first 50, and we're looping through those first 50. And then that's being put into a new array here. So let's type fire. Cannot read properties of undefined reading front default. Okay, so that's good. We should get our list here. Oh, no, we don't. So let's just take a look. Return. So we're returning that object at the end of it all. And this is now, we're going to turn this into a function. We're going to return our Pokemon outside of that function. And then here we're going to go log current Pokemon. I'm just going to look at the format of the data that's coming through. Fire type, yeah, fire. So Pokemon, Pokemon.Pokemon, which is fine. Oh, we only get names. Interesting. We only get a name. So I thought we would actually get. We could do like another search for it, but I think that's crazy. Like it would just, yeah, yeah. So what we're gonna do, we are going to return. We're just gonna return, I think, just the name. And then we're going to set Pokemon. That's fine. We can do that. And then we need to determine down here, if we pass in the type equals type, inside of the list Pokemon, we can go type. So if type equals, this is really fragile now. This is where you might choose to break your constants out into their own kind of separate file, because here we're just going to hard code type. Really dangerous, that, because type might not exist or something like this. I suppose it's not so bad because type will never exist, but whatever. Pokemon.map. If we go item, then we can go P Pokemon. Oh no, it's item, isn't it? And then class name, margin bottom 2. So if the type is of type, which would be fire, blah 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 blah, then we loop through it and just print out the names of the Pokemon. Otherwise, we get a nice little UI here. So let's refresh that. Fire. We haven't saved everything. Save all the files. Cool. Fire. Type. Fire. Boom. We got it. Probably a bit too much there, but whatever. There's all the fire Pokemon. Or all the first 50 fire Pokemon, which is kind of cool. Now, what happens when we change to Pokemon here? Read map of undefined. So now we're going to do a little bit of debugging. So on from this will change. So that's changed, and then this will change, and then this will change. Does Pokemon still work? So Charmander. So that still works. That will break. So we need to find out where it's breaking. That's expected. So I don't think this is doing anything. So this is just setting the type, which should, I think, is happening here. So set loading response stop. Is it happening here? Log. Let's just try that. Charmander. Cool. Type. So it's not even getting to that. Let's try it one more time because okay, so Pokemon Charmander. So something is happening here. I think we need to. Okay, let's go that fire. Okay, new Pokemon. So we're not getting to. Is it type.type? Let's have a look what type is. Charmander. Cool. Type. Oh, hang on, we're not getting type through, so we just need to refresh. Charmander. Pokemon. So we're not getting to there. Could be just response. Log response. That was fine. Do we need to set Pokemon to empty array? Is that what that is? One more time, just in case. Huh. Do we do it every time we change the type? Ugh. What's going on? Okay, that's good. That was good. Cool. So here's where we probably store the value coming back from, you know, the we haven't searched. We need this to be empty. So if we go to list, It's not list, is it? It's form. Form to options. We could go if if on use effect or whatever we store the value. So if we go const search input equals use do it. Search input set search input use state empty a string value equals search input. So what happens here? Try. Maybe we need to create it outside of this. Search value set search value use state. I'm very aware that we need to go back over everything still, but let's try and get things working first. Search value equals search value. So now a dependency. Okay. Hate when stuff starts getting. So we've got an empty string. Change. Maybe there is something. Let's do this rather than it being on the div, because if you know anything about events, they bubble up. So that on change event will reach that wrapping div, but there's no necessary. It's not necessary. So it's still not working, but either way, we can keep that on change. So when that changes, we call on change, which is this. We should not even getting through. Why aren't we getting through? Search value. Why aren't you? Same with this, really, to be fair. Unnecessary. Change. Change search Pokemon. Maybe it's to do with the debouncing, potentially. So if we go search Pokemon, looks a bit rubbish because we're debouncing that. Maybe we do need to move it inside of that. search value, set search value. On change. We're gonna intercept this and then call the on change event within here. So let's go const on input use callback dun, 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 dun. And we're gonna take our e and we're gonna set search value to e.target.value, and then we're gonna call on change with e, just with e. And then here we're just gonna go done, done, done. Let's see what that does. Set search value not defined. Set search value. Set search value. It's there. Oh, we've got use state going on in there. Oh, maybe we need this. Do we need on change as a dependency? I guess so. Why are you whinging? That's built on set. I think it's because I'm. Yeah. Cool. Okay, we're getting something going on. Pokemon Abra. Cool. Type. Cool. Fire. Cool. Type. Boom. Okay, so now if use effect. So now we want to make sure so if we search, so okay, so if we pass in type equals type, then we can do a use effect here, class a function that only runs when type changes, and we can go set search value equals nothing. So when type changes, cool. I like it. I like it. I think that'll do it. So I'm still uneasy about moving all of this stuff inside of this component here. I'd much prefer this to be handled outside, but the idea is we have it working. I'll probably need to do some like console logging and just seeing what the render cycle is like, but it works. Right, let's just go back over exactly what we did there. Maybe we can. Ultimately, we're storing a type inside of the wrapping component here, and the initial state is the first item. So if we change this to type, and then that would be the type and whatever. So we're storing that as an item of the state. This, well, we'll cover that in a second. We've created a function that basically sets that type based on the value that it receives from an element, whatever. We haven't bound this to anything yet. And we've passed that function into an onFilter method inside the form. So there's our onFilter, and we've bound it to a select element. So every time this changes, that event gets called, and then it's called here, and then we set the type to that value, and then we clear Pokemon, right? We clear that array, because I think that was causing us some issues. Let's actually see if we can just comment that out for a second. That build, Charmander, whatever type. Okay, so it's breaking. I think that has probably something to do with the type changing in list. The type has no, that makes sense. But then yeah, so the type has changed, but the format hasn't changed. So it's looking for, item.image and all that lot, when the type's changed to Pokemon and vice versa. I think that's what it is. If we clear that, then Pokemon, that's an empty array, and then it can sort of, well, yeah, I'm sure there's some cleanup we can do there, but the simple fix here was just to make sure set Pokemon is an empty array. And with that, the type changes, and we set that as a dependency on this callback. So this callback reloads, and the type is able to be searched. Okay, this function does not fire, which is why you don't see a list of fire Pokemon or whatever. We probably could still do that. You could probably do a use effect. I mean, we don't want to because there isn't a type of there isn't a type of Charmander. But you could do it that you recall this function when type changes, but that doesn't make any sense. So this function gets reloaded with use callback, and now it has access to an updated type value. So then when we retype, we type, well, that's the wrong one, but whatever. Pokemon not found, Charmander. When we retype that, it's able to check what type is. And in this case, we changed to Pokemon. So that now we can reset the Pokemon after it's been cleared. We can reset the Pokemon. Something entered my mind here that we could. Basically, I don't want this. It would be nice if we could change that to type, and then it didn't clear. Basically, I was just thinking that, and there might be a way that we can do it, but whatever. But that's it. And if the type is of type, then we clean up the data. We only get the first 50. You could do some loading thing. You could add a button that gets the next 50 by tracking, current search, parameters, and these are offsets basically. The next one will be 51 to 100, something like that. And then we loop through them. And if you don't know about maps and things like this, then I think you should scrub up on your JavaScript. But map loops through an array and returns the exact same length of array, but we format that array the way that we want it. So we just return the name. So then the new array this array here is just a list of names basically, and we set that Pokemon to set the cleaned up data, and then vice versa. So that's kind of it. We could do a bunch of response.statuses. If it's like else if 200, we can throw another type of error, something like that, but that's fine. And yeah, that's kind of it. It's probably worth saying at this point that we've still got a lot to learn, right? We use callbacks there. There's probably some performance that we need to look into, make sure we're not rendering elements that don't need to render, various things like that. It's important to know that we're just at the beginning of our journey, and this is just a small example. It's very simple running, very simple checks and things like that. I implore you to create apps this way and have fun and just getting your ideas out there and building things, and maybe playing around with different APIs, maybe having different filtering functions working and stuff like that. It's not going to be a disastrous thing. This isn't a production, or this isn't a client application that you should be building right now. It's to have fun. As we go down in the course, we will start to be more strict with performance issues. We will need to be more strict with various aspects of the application that we've not even touched on yet. So it's just worth bearing in that mind. Do not use this information to now suddenly charge your client 50K for like a React app or anything like that. Just be patient, enjoy the process, and just have fun, pretty much. So with that, if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and all the rest of it. My React course is available on my Patreon, 0x5am5, links down in the description. And until next time, happy coding.